Hi, my name is Cynthia Heisch. I'm the founder of Careerfluencer. I'm from Dallas, Texas, but I'm currently based out of Miami, Florida. When I think about my career, from the outside looking in, I don't think it would make much sense to anyone else. I hope that by sharing my story in between the lines, maybe that'll help, or at least help you understand. When I graduated college and was getting ready to enter the real world, let's just say my career and everything I thought I knew about the real world, I couldn't have been further from it. And it felt like life as I knew it had been flipped upside down. And it was one of those moments where nothing seemed to be working out the way it was supposed to. So, when we graduate college, here I am, I'm surrounded by my friends and family, and everyone's so excited. It's one of the most proud moments of, I can just see it in my family's faces, how happy they are that I finished college, right? I had this, awesome resume. I did all this stuff. I had worked so hard for this moment. And I also inside was really pumped. I couldn't wait to start my career. And finally, be able to see what was next. I was so excited for this chapter. I had been looking forward to it for so long. And I'm here, doing all the graduation celebrations. But inside, I am freaking out. I am basically in an internal crisis because I'm thinking none of this really means anything because I don't have a job and I have no clue what I want to do for the rest of my life, right? Everyone around me seemed to have this all figured out. They had their careers lined up after college and they knew what they wanted to do. And I would see on social media, people are posting constantly, left and right, they're landing these awesome jobs. And yet I had been applying for positions for months prior to graduation and nothing was working out. I wasn't getting anything promising. I had no little even interview to have my hopes to hang on to. And it seemed like every single day I would apply to hundreds and hundreds of positions. It's not like I was picky because I didn't even know what kind of, marketing job I wanted to do specifically. So anything would be great, but I felt so rejected. I could barely even land one or two phone interviews. And I was just wondering, what is going on? Why is this not working? Because I had what I thought was this picture perfect resume and I followed all the rules. I did everything that we're supposed to, yet it seemed as if I was, applying to jobs with a blank piece of paper. Nothing was panning out. And I was really, really freaking out. I was like, what am I going to do? I have no idea how to do this whole career thing. How come everyone seems to have this all figured out, nice and tidy, and they're moving on without skipping a beat? And that's what I thought would happen too, to be totally honest, right? I figured, okay, I'm going to graduate, I'll land a job, I'll, work my way up, and before I know it, I'll be in a leadership position. I don't even know what field or anything, but, that's what I think is my career is going to look like. And so I remember thinking in that moment that I felt so alone. And I was really feeling defeated. I didn't know who to talk to because it's not cool to talk about careers, and people only post or talk about it really when things are going great, and all my peers are posting their celebratory things and it is exciting. And I'm not, saying they don't deserve it because they do, but I was just wondering what's wrong with me? Why am I not just seamlessly moving into the real world like everybody else is. And from that moment on, I never looked at my career the same, ever. And it wasn't until, like 3 or 4 months after I had graduated college that I happened to see a friend post on Facebook that their job was hiring. And that, in the end, was how I landed my first, real job in my career. And so, again, I treated every single day like an interview. I never took my career for granted. I came in and just wanted to be such a sponge. And then, when I graduated with my MBA, like a year or so later, the first thing I did was I went to Half Price Books. I filled up a cart full of books on like leadership and things like that. And I used all this free time that I finally had to figure out, how the heck I'm going to figure out this career thing. I seem to have no clue. And everyone around me seemed to love their job. They were happy. They weren't concerned about it at all. Like, this is not a thing people talk about, or, it's not like a casual conversation that comes up like, hey, so what are you going to do for the rest of your life? Like, no. And so I felt like any minute I could, where I was kind of alone or nobody was watching, I would listen to podcasts, I would read books, and I would start asking anyone, especially, coworkers, anyone that seemed slightly ahead of me. Once I kind of got to know them and I felt comfortable, I'd ask them about their career and be like, hey, I have no idea how to figure out this whole career thing. Like, what did you do? And I just started, I never could get this thing off my mind, right? People thought, Cynthia, chill out, you'll figure it out, this, that, and the other. But I don't know. I just couldn't stop thinking about it. It was something that I didn't know what I wanted. I kind of at some point gave up on trying to figure out what it was or what I was passionate about, because I don't know, passionate sounds like a big word. I like a lot of things. What do you mean? How do you figure out your passion? There's a lot to choose from here. And, I felt like a chicken running around with my head cut off, basically. But a chicken that was very ambitious and very motivated. I think we're supposed to have it all figured out, right? We have career day when we're kids, when we're little, right? And they come in and they talk about this, that, and the other types of jobs. And then by the time we graduate high school, it's like, okay, are you going to do this whole college thing? And now you got to pick a major. And that was, a mess for me. I picked several majors, right? And things change and careers change. And then within 4 years or so, you're supposed to know what you want to do for the rest of your life. And it was hard because I really did care about my career. And I never felt like I was someone who took it lightly, who, slacked off or would quit a job or would not follow the rules or would show up late. No, I was a rule follower to the T, which is why it didn't make sense even more to me. But I remember at that moment, I just told myself, this is not the way I thought this would go. And this is a part of my story that maybe right now really sucks. And I don't feel good. And I feel really alone and freaking out. And I don't know what to do about it. But you know what? If I figure this out, if I figure this whole career thing out, I am going to do something good with it one day. I want to help somebody, because I think if I had just seamlessly glided into the real world and if everything had worked out as expected, where I just, I graduate and then whoop, I land a job and then I just move into the real world and go from there. If that were the case, I would have had no idea about what it felt like in my reality. And I think that's maybe part of the reason why I never could get this off my mind, right? Because unless I had that experience, my career would look completely different, right? That experience flipped my life upside down and humbled me in my ego big time. I got a big slap in the face to my ego. I'm not perfect, but all I know is that it was a big wake-up call. And within a couple years, I had found myself in my dream job, right? And I was like, this is amazing. I had done things that I didn't even know were possible. Like, I created my own position in the company twice, and that's not a thing, right? Like, what? And on the outside looking in, it's like, okay, what more could you ask for? You've got this perfect career, clearly, right? And I'm thinking, it might seem like that, but you don't. This was a bumpy ride in the beginning, a real bumpy ride where I think I could have easily just let defeat win. I guess this is just how careers are. Work is work, right? And I would still be in that entry-level job, which is a great job, and I loved it, but I would still be where I was today instead of where I am now. So as soon as I was in that position where I had all these promotions and I'm the youngest leader in this company, and I had created an internship program and mentored and hired for the department, we doubled the size within 2 quarters, like all these great things, right, that I was proud of and were such huge learning opportunities. But inside, deep down, one thing that I never forgot about and could not stop thinking about was how many people could be out there feeling that way that I felt in that really difficult, confusing, lonely time of my career, when it's supposed to be this exciting chapter, leaving college and entering the real world and woohoo, right? But when things don't work out as they seem, like, that just never left me. So then, I think that if I didn't have that experience, not only would I not be in the same place as I was when I started thinking, this doesn't matter anymore. Like, I don't think, once I had my dream job, I was grateful for it for sure, but I couldn't help but think, like, no job title, no salary, I mean, none of that is really as important or meaningful to me now as doing something that I feel so called to do. That's all I knew. I had no idea how I would fix it. I had no idea what the solution was to this complicated kind of thing I'm trying to help. I knew all this stuff about how things worked on the inside now and how hiring worked, right? But yet I still wanted to help that young professional who's got so much untapped talent and is at this like huge point that could really change the rest of their future. I still, to this day, right, have no clue what to say when people ask about my career, like what I do for a living. It's hard to explain why I would have left that dream career to, take a 2-level demotion, move across the country, and then eventually turn down a bunch of, offers that came my way so I could start this company to solve a problem that I had no idea about how I was going to solve it, and no experience being a business owner. Like, I did not intend to be an entrepreneur. Like, I can't even really call myself an entrepreneur. So, is a podcast the answer? Is creating this thing called Careerfluencer the answer? I don't know. But, if you ask me, I think it's a pretty good start. Because when I was sitting there so clueless and confused and in shock, I'd sit in my first job in this dusty cube, by myself, thinking, oh my gosh, what is happening? I'm like sitting there in an internal crisis, basically, with a smile on my face, just trying to like figure out my life. No big deal. Like, I would listen to podcasts and every single day. And that's part of the reason why, I've been an undercover big fan of podcasts for a very long time. And I also know, I guess, what's out there and what really spoke to me or not. And I hope with this that we just create something that speaks to those who, are hearing it, speaks to who it's for in a way that is different or unique or adds value. That's my goal, basically. And I think if we can do that, and I think if, back then, if I at least just maybe knew that I wasn't the only one who felt like this, I think that maybe would have been enough just to kind of give me that peace, or just like to know that I wasn't crazy. I don't know. Nobody really knows what direction their career will go. Oftentimes people will switch careers or go in ways that they never expected, or create, positions that they didn't even know that was a thing. Like, there's no instruction manual to that. There's no straight answer, despite what all the stuff out there says, right? And you can Google all day, and I did back then, but still nothing really spoke to me. I'm just hoping that this Careerfluencer 2.0 that goes out into the world, if it can at least be the new and improved version. And if that's what fails, and if that still doesn't work, then fine. Maybe I'll think about something else. But I doubt I'll ever stop trying to figure out how to speak to this community that I know is out there. I think if I had a tattoo, it would say, leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. And I really believe that. It's not easy to open up and share things about your career story that most normal people don't speak about out loud and try to forget about. But that's why, for the people and our guests who are willing to believe in Careerfluencer and who want to serve this community that's out there, who are basically complete strangers, right? When the people on here that are willing to share their story simply just to help someone else that they might not ever meet, like, that means so much. Not only to me, but just knowing that it could help someone. That's a rare find, I think. And I just admire and respect every single one of them. Like, whether or not they can relate to that feeling, that kind of crisis, most of them can, but like, even if they don't even know what I'm talking about and they're still sharing their story just to bring a new or unique perspective to the table, just to show that they want to serve somebody else. Everyone's story is unique. But hopefully one day you'll be here sharing your story too. That's all I think I could ask for, right? And I think that's what it's all about.